In this video, I'm going to show you how in a really short time you can reboot your nervous system. Stick around to the end. I'm going to give you a really good hack that kind of confirms it and helps it last in the rest of your day. Hey, how can we reset our nervous systems when we really don't have time for it in a busy life? We often save this idea of rest and rehabilitation, R&R. We often save it up for thinking, I'm just gonna tough it through the next days, weeks, months, and then I'll have time when I take vacation or something to do what I need to do for my self-care. And until that time, I will frazzle myself and frazzle myself and frazzle myself. Now, it's true that sometimes we actually have no choice. Or at least I used to think so. Those of you who are watching who are special needs parents like me, or have other challenges in life that require you to go above and beyond your energy level all the time, and actually, let's face it, that's kind of life for everybody. There is a virtue in stoic endurance and stamina, yes. Sometimes you do have to do that. But of course it only works until the gas completely runs out of the tank. So the question is, should we let the gas completely run out of the tank? And increasingly, my answer to that is no, we shouldn't. What is better to do is to come up with lots of little daily strategies that absolutely allow this constant topping up of the gas tank to happen. Now, you'd think that that would be common sense, but it's just not in our culture. I was brought up very much that the virtue was in effectively overwork and workaholicism, and I am a bit that way anyway, temperamentally. I enjoy it. I love it. I love that hyper focus and effectively a flow state. There are, however, times when I do it to the detriment of my health. Okay, so the question is what to do. If you haven't got time to go on a 2-day, 3-day retreat, most of us do not, how can I make use of what's around me? So I want you to stick around to the end, because I'm going to give you my top hack then. But I want to lead up to it with several stages of nervous system reboot that we can use on a daily basis. And the reason I'm sitting under this tree by the River Rhine is that you might think, oh, well, look, Rupert, you're sitting out in this beautiful nature. You know, the larks are singing. It's a lovely spring day. I'm stuck in an apartment somewhere. I haven't got time. I can't get out to an environment like the one that you're sitting in. However, if we were to turn the camera around from where I'm sitting, you would see smokestacks just over the brow of the bank there. And behind those smokestacks are a whole bunch of industrial complexes and apartments and blocks. And we ourselves used to live in an apartment block. And that was actually during COVID when there was lockdown, and it became really acute to have to come up with these sorts of strategies. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are parks and pieces of nature almost always very close to, I don't want to say the word SHIT, but SHIT, human environments. And those SHIT human environments, of course, jangle our nervous system so much that we need this massively, but usually we have closer access to them than we might think. We just are not looking for it. If you're looking for those green spaces, you're going to find them. So that's my first thing, is look for the green space, the nature space that is the easiest access to where you are, to where you live and to where you work. There will be one. There'll probably be about 3 or 4. You can find them on maps. You can find them on Google Maps. They might be hidden behind buildings. So have a look for where are these parks and green spaces. When you find one, select a spot. So I selected this oak tree. I'm assuming it's a bur oak because the size of the ends of the acorns that are lying around me, just see if I can locate one here, are really kind of giant. Ileana's going to throw one to me. Yeah, look at that. Imagine the size of the acorn that must come out of that. That's a whopper. So I've selected my spot and I've noticed something. That is the second thing. Once you get into nature, if you start noticing small things that tell little stories about the nature, you automatically begin to calm and slow your brain waves down. If I was wearing an EEG right now, measuring my brain waves, they would show that I was now slowing down from where I was before I got here. So I sit here. I was going to start, well, I did start with something natural. This large barge, that's poetry, that's going up the river behind me, is also interesting to me, and it tells me a story of this old trade route, this human story that's been going up and down this river for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, long before the Germanic tribes came in here, when it was still Celtic, when it was Roman, when it was Neolithic. People were using this same river to bring goods, stone, fur, timber, up and down, trading for as long as humans have lived here, which is, well, since at least the last ice age. Okay, so I'm noticing that. I'm also noticing that the river is low. We've had a very, very, very dry March. This is March. We're now in April 2025, and we had the first day's rain yesterday to break that cycle. I can hear birdsong. There's a high trilling up above me. Those are skylarks, and skylarks are really amazing. If you ever watch them get up, they nest on the ground, and then they'll go up so high that they become specks that you lose sight of, and they'll do that singing and singing and singing as they go, and apparently they're marking their territory from way, way, way up there. It sounds incredible. There's a smell. The smell I've identified as sheep, and that's interesting because there are no sheep right here, but look behind me on the tree. People have had sheep here to graze down this riverbank. They've been rubbing their wool against here, and I can see little bits of sheep poo. And it's relatively dried sheep poo, so I'm assuming they must have been here within the last month. Otherwise I wouldn't have the faint smell of the sheep, but not so recent that their poo has any moisture to it. While I'm looking at the poo, I'm noticing small beetles with iridescent carapaces. And there was a bee, a ground nesting bee, in the tree hole, the hole by the trunk just behind me, which I think was looking for a place to nest. And I've been noticing 2 or 3 small flying invertebrates, 1 a little moth, 2 were small flies, sort of investigating this tropical jungle here, because when you get your face down to the ground level, you notice that it begins to look like a jungle rather than just grass. As I know, oh, there goes a white cabbage, white butterfly behind the camera, and a cormorant just flew over my head. So when I give myself this very short time to sit and notice all of these things about nature, not only do I calm down my brainwaves, but I come out of myself. I stop thinking about myself. I stop thinking about my own stuff. Okay, now the third thing is this electromagnetic field of the earth that's under my butt and under my feet. Because I'm wearing rubber, plastic-soled shoes, that kind of cuts me off from it a little bit. So maybe a good idea is for me to take my shoes off. It is coming up through my butt, which is a good thing because my butt gives access to my base chakra and my sacrum, which give access to my vagal nerve, which is the biggest nerve in my body, which takes all the information in from outside on my skin and takes it to the central processing parts of my nervous system, and then takes it up to my brain so my brain can make interesting decisions about things. As soon as I have my shoes off and my feet on the ground, I feel better. I feel physically better. Now, if I put my back up against the trunk of this tree, which is effectively tree hugging, whew, here I go. Which brings me to the next thing, breath. If I now slow my breath down, I feel better again. And the trick is to breathe in through the nose and then breathe out through the mouth, and to make your out breath just that little bit longer than your in breath. So here I go. One more. And a last one. Okay. This brings me to my next thing. It felt so good to lean my back up against that tree trunk. I wonder how it would feel to lean my back against planet Earth herself. And the electromagnetic field of the Earth, which is quite slow, seems to be very good for us, which shouldn't be a surprise given that it's the habitat that we were designed to live on, given that we're organisms. Research that I've been doing, there seems to be a consensus that if you lie on a north-south axis with your head more towards the south and your feet more towards the north, that puts you in line with the Earth's magnetic field. They say an east-west sleeping axis can sometimes cut you off from the Earth's magnetic field. I don't know, because one reads lots of different things about that. But I'm going to try the north-south axis right now, which is just an excuse for lying on the ground. Ooh, two seagulls going over just behind the camera. So I think I'm going to put myself right here, because there's a little hole by my foot that I can't really lie on easily. So I'm going to move my butt, and I'm going to lie my head towards the south, which is this way, and my feet towards the north, which is this way, scanning to make sure there's no landmines. Okay, and here I go. Oh my God. Why don't I just do this every day? Now, it's obviously a sunny day today, and the ground is dry enough, even in April, to lie on, and we know that's not always the case. But what I do sometimes is I do, when I can think of it, bring a rain jacket or even a small ground sheet and lay it down on the ground in winter or just when it's wet and do this. And I've also found that if you take your shoes off in winter, your feet actually still enjoy it. It seems counterintuitive, but to go a little bit barefoot for a few minutes in the winter and feel the squishy mud under your feet is actually a very nice thing. At least I find it so. But I am blissing out right now. So why am I blissing out? So there's a frequency to this, a vibration to this, and there's chemical reactions going on in my body. If I am slowing my brain waves down towards the 7 megahertz-ish, which is the Earth's magnetic field, although it fluctuates, then I'm slowing down even more my brain waves and probably heading from a beta brainwave state towards an alpha brainwave state, which is the meditative state where you begin to have access to your subconscious. And if I were to shut up and just lie here and breathe, I suspect I could achieve the alpha state in about a minute, and I might even drift off to sleep and achieve a delta state. Which brings me to my final hack. And here it is. Thank you for waiting. The final hack is gratitude. One reads and hears so much about gratitude and appreciation and law of attraction. And it's because it's true. Gratitude is prayer. Appreciation is telling God and the universe, thank you for all of these wonderful things which I didn't have to be wealthy to go and buy. I don't have to buy and own this piece of ground that I'm on. I don't have to buy and own the sunshine. I don't have to buy and own the bird song. I don't have to buy and own the Rhine River behind me. I don't have to buy and own this oxygen I'm breathing. I don't have to buy and own the soft grass under my arms and palms. But it's all there for me. And I'm grateful. I really, really am grateful. So the hack of gratitude is really a hack of prayer. And although I'm not religious, I do have a great belief in God and a great gratitude towards that entity. God is one word, one could say, collective consciousness or the universe, or there are many words. And I can feel it beginning to pulse through me, and I can feel the muscle knots in my right shoulder begin to unlock. I can feel that tension in my chest and throat begin to unlock. And I'm grateful. So in a short time, I have begun a short nervous system reboot. If I hadn't sat here and explained it, that process of finding the piece of green natural area close to the man-made areas, of starting to notice what's going on in the nature, however small, to come out of myself, to look for the human stories that are around, for example, the trade routes of the Rhine River, to then connect my feet and my back with the tree and the earth, and then to connect fully with the earth, and then to give thanks. If I hadn't taken the time to explain this verbally, well, I would be even further in. This I can do daily. In my busy schedule, I can find these moments, these minutes. So if this was helpful to you, please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and perhaps write in the comments below if you tried this and it helped you, and also what hacks you have for resetting your nervous system moment to moment on a daily basis. Because we can do this more than one time in the day. We'd love to hear from you. You can also go on our website, longridehome.com, check out our Little Besa program that goes into many, many aspects of everyday healing, shamanism, neuroscience, nature, that help with well-being. Until then, see you on the next one.